Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today, I get the opportunity to review a game that has been in my collection for the better part of a year and a half and is not leaving anytime soon. This is Villagers by Sinister Games. Now, Villagers just launched on Kickstarter with a reprint and seasons expansion, or shifting seasons, I believe, which is going to add a variety of new mechanics to the game. And we're going to talk about those in just a moment. But first, I want to give a brief and quick overview of exactly what Villagers is and why, for me, it's such a charming game. Villagers is going to be a hand management and tableau building game. You're building an engine down here on the board as you collect denizens or people to populate your new growing city or civilization. You're sort of existing on a little town on a street corner and slowly adding a blacksmith, a cooper, a thatcher, a carpenter, a harvester, a poulterer, lumberjacks, miners, hayers, and a variety of other characters. This game is all about building a chain of escalating cards to get resources, to get money, to be the most successful community manager, the most successful town mayor or town establisher, I suppose. You're going to be adding cards that start sequencing and chaining off of each other, and that's where the real charm of Villagers shows up. Grabbing something like a miner that can then build a blacksmith that can unlock a tinkerer or a lockpick or a barrel maker so that you can start making wine and produce bourbon. I always make it back to bourbon sooner or later. This game is all about this pile of cards that slowly start sequencing into each other. If I just flip one of these over, I can show you we have a bed builder, a thrumager, a tinner, Walter, a grocer, a glassblower, an apprentice, and an ore mueller. And every one of these cards are going to have their own other cards that they chain with, either unlocking projects, giving you the opportunity to build and lay down other cards, scoring you points and money as you play the game, or generating you the ability to draw up more cards and play more cards into your tableau. The hand management side of this game is going to be that you have a controlled deck. You can only play a certain amount of cards based off of what is appropriate in your village, how many people you can feed. You can also only draw up the amount of people that you're able to support. And so throughout the course of the game, you're going to be drawing from the center deck here with everyone around the board, maybe doing a little bit of interplay, playing cards that have special abilities that cut other people off, and doing your best based off the puzzle that's laid out with a pile of cards, because you won't have access to all of them. In fact, the ones in my base game that currently aren't on the table are right here. You're going to be working through a pile of cards, all of which have interplay between each other. You might be competing with these cards from other players that are at the table. You might be doing your very best to get to a high endgame scoring card that's going to get you a lot of coin, which are victory points. Or you might just be trying to figure out how to build a tableau, how to work through your process, how to finally get your Thatcher up and running so that you can start playing and gathering more cards a little bit later in the game. The core game had two market phases. We had a market phase here at the end of the second deck. Once you deplete this deck by placing them down here into your marketplace or onto your road, you're then going to score for all the gold coins. Then you'd go down here to the second market phase, or the end of the year, where you'll score for all the silver coins that are available on your tableau. And that's the core system. Get an engine up and running, get characters down on your board, attract the most successful towns or citizens, and score, earn points. It is a system that for me has always worked so very, very well. Now, the rulebook is a little messy, a little bit hard to work your way through. I think part of it's just the angle that they cut it to fit it into this box, and I have to be honest, there is a degree of expert knowledge when it comes to this game, understanding what cards might be coming out, what could sequence, where the puzzle is going to lie. It's a game that gets richer and richer the more you play it with the same group of people, because you'll start cutting each other off, or building your town, or seeing what someone is working towards. Whereas teaching a new player, if the skill set is unbalanced, there is a bit of work that needs to be done in order to not let them feel like they've just been completely destroyed. But if you do spend the time in the game, getting it to the table, learning how to play it, and finally teaching your friends, this is such a good tableau builder. It's got to be one of the favorites in my collection. The combination of adorable artwork to thematic goals and engine building that all seems to make sense to the reality that it plays quick, about 45 to 60 minutes has been my average experience, plays solid at 2 players, but grows comfortably at 3 or 4, and has a good solo mode if all you're looking for is an economic engine that you want to engage with. So all that being said, I'm really here to talk about Shifting Seasons and exactly what it's going to add, or at least what I have in front of me that it's adding to the game state. So if you're already a fan of villagers, I assume you skipped to this timestamp right here. And if you'd like to see a gameplay with Shifting Seasons included, leave a comment down below. If we get enough engagement on this video, I'd be happy to come back with Shira and Jan and show this game off just a little bit more. So, what I have right now, what I have that is included, we have some new cards that are going to be mixed into the main deck. We have Grapers, the Tanner, and the Shepherd. They're just going to add a little bit more interplay for gold generation or food generation at a 4-player game. We also have a brand new turn order sheet, and that's going to be because we're mixing in season cards here, and these are going to be the main crux of Shifting Seasons. I don't know that I have them in the right order. I think I have fall, spring, winter, and summer. That's not quite how the seasons go, but they're going to slot into these other 4 areas that never before had event cards or trigger cards. So let's start with spring. I think we'll go to summer, then we'll go to fall and winter, and work our way through exactly what these cards do. The interesting thing about these cards is once you run through a deck, instead of triggering a market phase 2 times in the game, you'll be triggering events, variable events. So right now I have 3 examples for each one. So festivals, draw 3 villagers from the reserve, then return any 2 villagers back to the reserve. A little bit of drawing up, very nice. We have townsfolk. Turn all stacks face up. They'll remain face up until the next build phase begins. That's massive. So instead of drawing cards based off of what is sitting there on the top, kind of guessing what might be there, you get to see perfect information. It's like you have a double row of available cards. We have returnees. Look through the stack, take 1 villager of to your hand, then shuffle and return the stack. Nice, not bad at all. Moving over to summer, we have nobles. Add 5 gold to all villagers on the road. Villagers just became way more valuable, which can shift and change the game. Developments, score 2 gold for each villager in your hand. Nice. So, depending on how much you're building up. Weddings, pass a villager to the player on your right. Painful if you have a thin deck and you're trying to get something built specific or they need something that you just drew. Moving on to fall, merchants. Score 1 production chain, including both branches. Very nice. So if you have, let's say, a miner that's sequencing all the way down to a tinner, I believe, score 20 coins off that. That could be massive if you've been able to get established by fall. Travelers, place 2 gold on all your villagers with a key ring. Nice. So the more you've unlocked, the more you're going to get from that. Caverns, score all your silver symbols in your villagers. So we could have a double silver scoring round, which if you're building towards the second market phase, or late game scoring, could be really, really big. Then finally in winter, +1 build, very nice. Castellans, all players get to do 1 extra build action. We have pilgrims. All players in order may look through their discard pile and build 1 villager, very nice. And then envoys, score half the gold value of the villagers in your hand, then discard that villager. So these are going to be events that get mixed into the game. I really like the fact that they add a bit of thematic principle, a little bit more randomness to a game that is more or less perfect information outside of the card draw, and give me some more interesting ways to play. I think this is a brilliant way to make every single one of these decks more engaging, because as you're cycling cards, you're pressing towards what could be a benefit or a bane to your playstyle. Then we're going to have these new cards that are going to be mixed into the main deck, the main system. First, we're bringing in a brand new resource called clay. Clay is like all these others, or solitary, hay, grapes. Clay is going to be a resource with its own production chain. So we're going to start off with the Clayman, who's going to be a basic builder, a basic resource that you could gain. Gives you 1 gold, not a big deal. But now we start getting complicated. Brick Burner is going to come next. This is built directly off the Clayman, can build brick layers after it. This is going to have the Oven Maker requirement, 3 gold, and another build potential. Bricklayer is going to come next. She is going to give you 10 gold when it scores, and also allow you to build another card into your tableau. We have the Ceramist. Ceramist is going to do 2 coins per brick card that you have. Pretty standard there, but could be good scoring. Oven Maker is going to score you 3 coins. It's also going to unlock 6 different cards, which is pretty massive. We have the Potter. The Potter is going to come after the Clayman. The Potter is going to unlock or be unlocked by the Oven Maker. 5 coins. We have the Tile Layer. Tile Layer is going to come after the Tile Maker. Tile Layer is going to score you 12. Another Tile Layer here. The Tile Maker is going to be the last one I have. Oven Maker is required to unlock it. And the Tile Maker is going to give you double bricks, score you 4, and allow you to then sequence down to the Tile Layer. So just a little bit of pairing, another resource to mix in, adds a little bit more complexity, a little bit more variability into the game, and gives you a little bit more control. We have our standard builder team. So if you're having a little bit of trouble getting cards down onto your tableau, instead of your founder's card flipping over to food, well, alongside your founder's card flipping over to food, you could also add a builder team. A builder team is just going to let you not only draw up, but then also play more cards more consistently. And then finally, the cards that I'm the most intrigued by, because these are some of the funnest cards in the game. Now, they can be mean, they can be head-to-head, but we're going to be looking at these special cards. These are usually one-time use, and they break the game in some fashion, and these are the new ones that are included in Shifting Seasons. Engineer. Place on top of any villager, every symbol in this production chain is now active and scoring even if covered by another card. That's awesome. That means everything you have all the way up is going to be scoring, and normally when you play cards on top of each other, they remove those benefits. Forager, draft phase. You have 2 extra draft actions this round. Drop some extra cards, get some extra coins. You play that at the right moment, you could be in a really good spot. Inventor, place on top of any villager. Take 5 gold for each villager below the inventor in the production chain. So if you have a whole stack of villagers there, you could score about 15 points from that. Not bad at all. Jacko Trades can be used as the first villager in any 2 production chains. Whoa, first villager in any 2 production chains. That's massive. That's going to, it can be literally anything. It can be any of these initial cards building down. Leader, take 3 basic villagers. Very nice, very powerful. Merchant, place 4 gold on a villager with a key ring. Okay, so that's going to give you 4 gold. Which could escalate scoring. That's not bad, because some cards play scoring off of how many have gold on them. And then finally, the Tent Maker. You have 2 extra build actions this round. That's also a very powerful card. Getting extra build actions or extra draft actions is basically extra turns or extra engagement in the game. So that's going to be what's new here in Shifting Seasons and Villagers. For me, this is an expansion that just shuffles directly into the core game. And if you don't already have the core game, I highly recommend getting it. I really, really like this. I like this as my tableau builder. This is my kind of economic engine. It's thematic, it's deep, it's rich. What are some reasons that you should not consider getting this game? Well, like I said already, I acknowledge the rulebook's a little bit messy and a little bit hard to work your way through. I think it has a bit more words than is necessary. Granted, I'm not a rulebook expert. I just know that when I was reading it, it felt like the small print combined with the additional sort of explanations of every single action made it clear, but also hard to understand at the same time. I hope that's clear coming across. There's a lot going on here and a lot of little sequencing and actions. If you're going to get this game, I would recommend maybe watching a how to play video or checking out a quick gameplay so you understand the puzzle that you're engaging with before you start working your way through it. If you don't like tableau building, that's exactly what this game is. If you want a game that doesn't require a little bit of depth of knowledge or doesn't give you a strong advantage if you have it, this game won't be that. Understanding the potential production chains and where it goes. I played with Board Game Co. just recently this last weekend, and I think I nearly tripled their score, largely because I understood the nature of the game. Now, the next 2, 3, 4 times they sit down to play with me, of course, the game will get more and more even, but that initial play, it just isn't enough to really let someone get an engine up and running or let them be rewarded. These special cards can be very, very mean. They can be very swingy, and like I said, they break the game. They're fun, incredibly fun, but I have had games where I have absolutely crushed other players due to being able to utilize them. And then finally, it does take a bit to build, set up, reorganize, you've got a lot of cards. Now the box does a very good job at helping you sort and organize everything, little tabs, but I still find that it takes a little bit longer than I would like for a game that's only playing in about 45 to 60 minutes for me to engage with the game itself. And for me, I prefer this game probably at 3 players. A little bit more interplay, a little bit longer. 4 players, it starts running a little bit long. 2 players, it's a nice head-to-head, but these special cards become very targeted at 2 players in a way that 3 players you can kind of cut the feet out of or have a little bit more opportunity to play between the characters that are all there at the table. Outside of that, these wooden coins, which are universal, are absolutely fantastic. Sinister Fish does an incredible job when it comes to production quality, and I cannot highly recommend this game enough. This is one that for the past year or so has been a 5 out of 5 in my collection. It just is really, really that good. I'm disappointed if people don't enjoy it, if they don't want to come play and engage with it, and I'm always happy or always wanting to get this one to the table. So, with that being said, thanks for watching this overview/review of Villagers. When I saw Shifting Seasons came out, I reached out to Sinister Fish, letting them know that I would like a demo copy. I'd like, well, not a demo copy of the game, I already owned it. I'd like a demo copy of the cards that were coming out so I could share it and finally do some review coverage here on the channel. Super excited about what they're creating, excited to get all the extra little bits and pieces from the campaign that's happening now, and I hope you are as well. Like I said, if you've made it to this part of the video and you want to see a gameplay, go ahead and leave a comment down below and swing over to Villagers and leave a quack. Let me know. If we have enough people that are panning for a gameplay, Shira and I and Jan would be happy to sit down and play with this new sort of sequence of cards included. Whatever the case though, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing, get out and play some games. We'll see you next time. Thanks.